Hey guys, it is day 8 for me, and I just wanted to kind of tell you some of the things I'm thinking because I feel like they might be useful to get certain kinds of conversations started. So the first thing is that I want to say to everybody is that if you're feeling like everything is collapsing and you literally can't find a floor, kind of like the stock market. One thing that you can do is to focus on the things that you can do. Just a little trauma tip. Um, one of the biggest enemies you have to anticipate is hopelessness and helplessness, feeling like there's nothing you can do and that it's all spinning out of control, when the truth of the matter is that you need to keep feeling a sense of agency, right? You need to keep reminding yourself, maybe like several times throughout the day, like there are things I can do, there are things I do know, right? You know your dog has to be walked, you know that your kids need shampoo, there are needs that you can meet, and that also has to do with how you're taking care of yourself. So one thing that I do pretty regularly is I take baths with like an oil of some sort and some Epsom salt, super cheap. I don't buy like the expensive stuff. And I just soak in the bathtub early in the morning when I first get up. And that helps me kind of clear my head out and think about what I can accomplish maybe that day, which kind of leads me to my second thing, is that a lot of people, myself included, are feeling sort of torn about how productive should I be, and I guess I want to say it's just a reminder that you can live for many, many, many years without being productive. You really can. Like, I've seen it with my own eyes. And it's important that you understand that I hope one of the things that gets reconsidered in the wake of all of this will be this idea of what it is to be productive, right? So what does productive even mean? And who pays for it? And I think if you start asking those kinds of questions, you're going to come out of this experience that we're in with a different set of eyes, which is a good thing. I do want to say, like, for all the people out there who are trying to be very, I don't want to say positive, because that, believe it or not, can turn some people off, but they're encountering this moment and they're saying there is opportunity to also reconsider what it is to be human, to consider our obligations to one another. And those are very good things. Like, we need to do that work. I appreciate the people who are asking those kinds of questions, who are challenging us to think about what those things really do mean. I also really want to say that one of the things that is going to be key for, I think, making sure that we get closer to that world is what we do now, right? It's what we do now. It's not going to magically turn out any kind of way. Like, we are the ones who are waiting on. So a couple of ideas for things to do to strengthen our connections to each other, to get us always challenging and finding new ways to process the things that we're all going to experience. Finding ways for those of us who are creative folks to still do what we do, to still share whatever it is that we can offer that will be helpful to folks. So I'm interested in figuring those things out. It's like literally what I'm thinking, because whatever it is that we want this world to look like on the other side of this thing is the world we should be building now. It's every single day, and the choices that we make are building that ethical system, or building that future of justice, that future of generativity for all people. So I think that's kind of where I'm at. I want to know what you're thinking about all this. Where you at? Because none of us know what's going on. And I think the sooner that we understand that we're not going to know for a long time, because I don't think it's particularly here in the States, I still think we're a good 7 days away from seeing how bad this really is. And we may not even know that. We may be, who knows? The point is, no one knows. No one knows. And everything they tell us, it's that this is a novel virus. They don't know. There's not a conspiracy. It's a novel virus. That means nobody's seen it really, and they don't know how it's going to act. So we're not going to be able to adjust to a new normal until we know more about what that normal looks like. We're not going to know how to respond to needs completely. But I do know that there are needs around you right now, and there are things you can do right now that help us build capacity for that. So a couple things to think about. A neighborhood pod. I love this idea. I've already started doing it. Go around to your neighbors. Obviously, stay 4 to 6 feet away. Don't hand things out because nobody's going to want to take anything. So maybe get you like a dry erase board and write your phone number and your address on there, and give them your name and just wave at them so that they see that you're a real person, and tell them that you're trying to coordinate, resources for the neighborhood. And so you want to know, like, if anybody needs anything, that they'll hook you up, and that you can find other ways to get those needs met, and so that there is a system in place literally within walking distance. Because you're really fortunate if you live in a neighborhood where you know all your neighbors. It's very rare. So that's one thing that I'm doing, is communicating with my immediate neighbors, and making sure that we all know how to help each other if we need to. So that's one thing. Another thing you can do is to participate in mutual aid, which essentially just means finding ways to hook people with means up with people without means, so that there's a direct kind of relationship, as opposed to some of the other ways that you might be supporting people, right? So just something to think about. These are all things that you can check into. Another thing that I'm going to be doing, besides checking in a lot more regularly with these kinds of conversations, but there's a couple things that I really do want to do. I do want to have story time where I tell some stories. So I just kind of am not ready to do that yet. Like, I've tried, I pushed myself too fast. And so I need to take a breath on that one, because I need to see the landscape before I start. Not ready for that. So maybe let me see how things shake out in the next little bit. But one thing that I would love to do, like literally now, is I would love it if you could send me private messages about problems that you're having, or things you can't figure out, or advice that you need. And I would, of course, anonymously address those. And I think that would be really interesting, fun, informative, hilarious, all of those things. So send me a private message and tell me how I can help you maybe at least, I don't know if I can solve your problems. I'm pretty sure that I can't, but I probably could make them less terrible. That's about what I can promise you. So so send me that. So let's do that. I want to do some Facebook events, because that's really easy for me to manage. I know a lot of people aren't on Facebook, but it is what it is. I'm going to do some Facebook watch parties of some famous movies and TV shows. Like, there's no reason we shouldn't look for new ways to be there for each other, even about trivial things, because there might come a day when it's not going to be about trivial things, but you need to be able to be in community and in communication with people on the regular before you need them. Do you know what I mean? So this is part of that build in the world that you want in the future every day. Like, you need to build your web, whatever that means for you, whatever's feasible for you. You need to build your web. You need to be able to contribute to your web, and you need to be able to receive from your web. Like, that is going to get us through. So these are just a few little things you can do today, particularly if you're feeling like too overwhelmed to be productive. Just remember that you are getting through, and that is productive enough. Some days this is a crazy experience, and nobody really understands the roller coaster we're on. Nobody knows when it will end. Nobody knows the loops we're getting ready to take. We're just strapped in. So the best thing we can do is try to brace for impacts, and that doesn't just mean economic impacts, although I believe that that is a significant, that's actually more of a concern for me than the virus itself. So let's find something that we can do. Let's not allow ourselves to live in fear.